everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. The show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Oh, guys, welcome back. Pieces last week, brought to you by Patreon subscriber Elliot. We're continuing our Patreon Patreon picks this week with Amy, fan of the show, Amy. And she chose Dr. Giggles.
She sure did.
Dr. Giggles. If you guys want to pick for us through the Patreon picks thing, we're just going to have it rolling. I mean, even once we finish these, I think if you subscribe after that, we'll allow you to just choose a movie for us or choose the three and then we'll pick one. And that's patreon.com/IHateHorror. You subscribe there and, helps us out. And you get to pick a movie for us to probably destroy. It's probably going to be something you like and we're probably just going to destroy it. So we apologize in advance. But most people have been, like, I think I talked about it last week. Most people have been picking good and bad ones. Like, you could tell which ones are like, this
Amy's,
is like their favorite. Amy just chose Dr. Giggles.
Oh, that was her only choice. Okay.
Yeah. She gave us no other option and basically just said, watch this.
I like your style, Amy.
Yeah, it was good. I guess we should announce next week, Ryan, another fan of the show, of course. I don't think I have to say it. He chose The Gate, which has been one that has been highly recommended by lots of people. Like, probably one of the most frequently recommended movies.
And our friend Buzz loves this movie.
Buzz loves it. So that's going to be next week. And that was a good movie.
It was.
It was good. It was good, kind of. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, patreon.com, check that out. We're hopefully going to be releasing new episodes. I think my wife and I are going to do a show for the Patreon supporters. I haven't told Joe this. And it should be, we'll see what happens. And then Joe and I think, are going to try and work out something more like MST3K.
Nice.
For you guys. Because I think that would work well. And it wouldn't cause us too much grief to do. Just sitting here like slobs. Watching a movie and picking it apart as we go.
I am slobbing out right now because it's like 9,000 degrees in Connecticut.
Dude, it's so fucking hot. Oh my God.
Central air and I'm fucking dying.
At like noon today, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do the show. And like the heat makes me fall asleep. So I fell asleep like 30 times today.
It's fucking brutal, man.
Yeah. So Dr. Giggles made in 1992 by Manny Kato, who, famous for Xenon the Sequel.
Wait, the Disney movie?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And Star Kid, which I never saw, nor did I ever want to see because it looked fucking disgusting. That kid's suit looked fucking abysmal.
Remember it.
Dude, it looked fucking gross. I remember the trailer so vividly because even as a kid, I was like, who would watch this? This looks fucking disgusting. It kind of looks like a Godzilla character. Like the full body, it's just awful, but he's a child and it's just gross. But he ended up going on to produce super successful stuff. Dexter and 24.
Yes, I knew that he was in like producing TV shows.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, good for him. Like, I don't understand how Hollywood works, but I need to get into it. Because like you could go from directing Dr. Giggles to producing Dexter and probably getting paid the rest of your life.
Probably making a nice paycheck.
Yeah. Yep. Selling fucking drink coasters with blood slides in them for fucking $70 or whatever it was on this Showtime website.
Did you catch the budget for this movie? Because I did not.
No, I didn't. I don't think it was available. I do. I don't think it was available. I could guess. I mean, it's $1 million, and it didn't make that much. I'll tell you that much.
Did it get theatrical release?
No, there's no way. But you never know with these movies. Like, you just.
I mean, the '90s was rough for horror.
Yeah, and
Scream came.
Holy shit! I need to write this down. The idea for the next, I was asking like people on Twitter, like our fans on Twitter, like, hey, does anyone remember the idea we had for the next serial killer? And I couldn't remember it. It was 90s movies.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so I got to write that down.
What the fuck happened in the 90s?
Yeah, and like being like, what happened in it? I got to write that down. Sorry, everyone. 90s movies serial killer. which is coming up. Serial Killer is coming up so fast. I'm like, I mean, we wanted to do one in the summer, which is probably not going to happen, but it's because I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh my God, like that shit was in January. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be January before we know it. Like, we're going to blink, it's January.
Is Paul coming for it?
For Serial Killer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
Paul's not an intellectual. Paul was upset we called him out in pieces, by the way. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if he was or not. So Dr. Giggles, 1992. Had you seen this before?
I thought I had, but I actually think I might be thinking of The Dentist, which doesn't make sense because it's not about a dentist.
Dude, that's what somebody sent us a link on Twitter. I forget who. Sorry, I can't give you credit, but somebody sent us a link on Twitter and was like, you guys should watch this movie. And it was The Dentist. And I was like, oh, this is what I thought Dr. Giggles was. Cause I was like looking at just information on it. And I was like, oh, this is what I thought Dr. Giggles was.
Yeah.
And I think The Dentist was like, good, quotes. Like, I think it was like, I think it was like high. I think it was heavily, I think there was a budget there.
Sure. It had Corbin Burnson in it.
Yeah. And maybe a plot, which Dr. Giggles lacked. Spoiler alert.
Dr. Giggles had a backstory, but the way that they unveiled it to us was fucking insane.
It was fucking bananas. It made no... Let's get into it. Because, dude, I'm just thinking about the story of Dr. Giggles, because you're right. It was like, this is going to be the first time that is that me again or you?
That was me this time.
Okay.
My computer.
Dr. Giggles is insane. Because you're right, it was like laid out to you and so sporadically and randomly that when I go through this right now with you, like I'm gonna be like, oh, I kind of get it now. Because while I was watching, I was like, what the fuck is this?
It is so. Sometimes when we watch the movies, I just go and read the synopsis afterwards.
Yeah, so do I.
And the whole first paragraph on Wikipedia is the backstory of Dr. Giggles,
Yeah.
and I was like, that would be wonderful if they just told us that in the first 5 minutes. Like, it would make perfect sense.
I feel like that's the story of a lot of horror movies. That's the downfall of a lot of horror movies. Pieces is one of them too, where they wait till the last 30 seconds to be like, oh yeah, and by the way,
he's collecting
body parts. All right, so the movie opens up. There's a doctor performing surgery. They're in like an old, I don't think they even do this anymore. Maybe I think they do, because I think I've seen my wife watch it on Grey's Anatomy. But they're in like it's like a lecture hall for doctors where the seats are all up and they have like a window view on top of the surgery.
Yes.
But then it cuts. There's going to be a lot of us saying that. It cuts.
I'm going to turn my screen to Sean, because look how many of my sentences start with cut.
Dude, this thing cuts all over the place. It's like the most insane thing. And it cuts to these doctors walking down the hall, like the true doctors.
Yes.
And they're talking about how this crazy person has gotten out and he thinks he's a doctor.
He has a fucking bone saw, because he's giving a speech and he has a bone saw.
Yeah.
And then the guys in the suits walk in and they're saying how he's just a patient, and why is he there and how does he have a fucking bone saw?
Or a lab coat or any of that shit. But he does, and the pace of this beginning, first 10 minutes, is like blistering. Like, it is just insane. It's just rapid fire. I was having such a hard time keeping notes. Luckily, it slows down to a screeching halt, particularly at the end. At the end, they were like, you know what? Let's take a break. Let's take some time off and have nothing happen for a while. But they realize it's him. But it's still insane because he's doing this in the lab. But then it's just cutting to all over the hospital, and like it cuts to the secretary, and she's typing something, and two hands come out and start massaging her neck, and she's like, and she just assumes it's the doctor, which is even more weird. And she's like, "Oh, doctor," and then she turns around, and the hands are sawed off.
Yeah, dismembered hands.
And Dr. Giggles is standing there holding them. And
also, we find out his name is Dr. Giggles because he laughs like such a stupid fucking asshole.
I can't even imitate it. And the puns in this are just...
Dude, I liked him. I liked him.
He should have kept his hands to himself.
Dude, because how many shitty movies have we watched where the puns don't make sense? Like, at least Dr. Giggles' puns
I mean,
relevant to what he's doing.
These puns are just very on the nose. Like there's no, they're just very. It's keep your hand. He should have kept his hands to himself. Yeah. Okay. And he strangles her.
Yes.
And we're back in the hall though, and they realize that he's performed this surgery, and it just does so much weird shit. Because then what we had seen doctors watching this lecture, but then when these guys walk in, we realize it's just a bunch of lunatics from the hospital.
He's released them all from their cell.
Yeah, which never comes back to play.
No.
It's literally just it. And they're like, oh my God, he released them all. That's the last we hear about it. Like, what the fuck? He's outside. He's killing guys to escape.
This would have been the perfect time to give his backstory.
Any point here, you could have just thrown a little bit of...
Those guys could have just been like, oh, it's that guy who did this, and then told it.
Dude, 100%. 100%. And sometimes we rip on stuff where they just like over-explain, but we just needed something to understand what the fuck was happening, because...
Right.
Especially if you're going to tell the backstory. I mean, I could have...
Especially since the backstory is not terrible.
No.
It's actually...
No, but even if they... Well, yeah. But even if they left it like... Even if they left it that he's just an insane person that thinks he's a doctor, that's fine. But don't show us this weird backstory in pieces scattered throughout the movie that make little to no sense. But Dr. Giggles has escaped, and he's on the run. And naturally, we cut to school.
Well, he goes outside, and he drops another great pun. He goes, checkout time, and he kills a guy just for his key card, which he could have just... Well, I guess he wanted the car, but he could have just driven through it, or, you know...
Walked or done anything.
Through it, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Also, how much time passed between the doctors knowing that he's escaped and he went and killed another person in another room, dude, and he walked out?
I don't know. And they bring it up later, and that was like the most infuriating part, because it should have been like, based on the events of this movie, it should have been years, because it really should have been years, because then people would have forgotten about it and stuff. But I think it was like that week.
No. I'm asking how much time passed from him getting out of his cell and performing that surgery, and those doctors are like, "This." You think it's a delayed time? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Or those doctors realized that he was out that moment.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because he killed that person, then he killed the nurse, and the doctors are just like, "Oh, it was this guy." We don't have a lockdown procedure.
I know, like it was. Yeah, I don't know about that, but even worse, I think there should be a delay from him escaping until the events that unfold.
Yeah.
Because later they're like, who could have done this? And then they're like doing research, and they're like, oh, I just found out this guy escaped. Like, they wouldn't alert the town that a fucking psychopath that literally just killed 4 humans at a hospital is like on the loose.
Yeah.
Like, the cops don't know.
And he goes back to his own place.
That's the craziest part.
That's the
craziest part. And he doesn't just go back there like Michael Myers style and just like revisit his past and like then just be on the prowl. He's just chilling there. He sets up shop. He sets up an office, a fully functional doctor's office in this dump. Oh my God. That is amazing. But cut to school. It's summer. We meet our guys, our main characters, Max and... Do you even know her name?
I have it written down. Jennifer,
yeah. I always catch her name. But I always like... I call them like girl or...
I say her, and then until like my last notes, and then I write down Jennifer.
In the gate, I call that guy Nerd Punk until like the last 10 minutes of the movie when I finally catch his name, and I'm like, I'm going to start calling him that. And now I'll just be confused at my notes, just like this one, because I have no idea. So Jennifer and Max are our main characters. We're also introduced to a bunch of side characters that you think will... Whatever.
My wife recognized the kid from Roseanne in the show Angel.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a big Roseanne fan. I didn't.
Darlene's boyfriend?
Boyfriend? Oh, yeah. Wait, Darlene's the blonde? No.
I've never seen it.
Oh. You've never seen Roseanne?
Well, I've seen episodes. I never watched it religiously.
Oh, I love Roseanne. Roseanne's the best. Roseanne has like the best Halloween episodes.
You've been telling me that.
Yeah, they're really
I love John Goodman. I just don't like
Roseanne. Dude. John Goodman. I love him. Best TV dad. But these kids are just... pieces of shit, basically, is kind of what we get. We also learn that this girl has a disease.
a microvalve disease in her heart.
Do they even explain that at the beginning? Because I feel like that was also given to us in pieces. Like,
well, she goes to this. It cuts. So they're at the school. Then it cuts to a doctor's office, and the doctor's saying how she has something wrong with her heart and she might need surgery. And then later on, she's on a Ferris wheel telling her boyfriend about it.
oh, all right. I guess I was just not paying attention. I really did not care what these kids had to say because they were such terrible actors. Oh, yeah. It meant nothing. Yeah. I mean, the girl kind of, but like she just keeps flashing this little box that she has to carry around that looks like a Walkman.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But the kids are going to go to Bruder Hill.
It's the makeout spot.
It's the makeout drinking fucking spot.
Yes.
Yeah. But I was like really lost at this point in the movie.
So it starts off with a bang with that fast paced sequence, and then it goes to the girl, then it goes to the doctor's office, and then it goes to the dad, girl's dad, who we find out is dating again.
Another weird storyline.
Another
weird storyline. So Dr. Giggles is in his house at this point, building.
Well, before that, it cuts to a Dr. Giggles flashback of him as a kid.
Which one is? Oh, when he's like with the bear. He's like,
this one is meaningless. It's just him young, and he's just giggling like an idiot.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's why it was so confusing to me, because it's going all over the place, and it goes to him being young, and then it goes to the house.
This is nuts.
But then it introduces a group of other characters. So you see Dr. Giggles setting up the house, and then it introduces a group of other characters. No. Then it introduces the old lady with a dog who talks to Jennifer.
Well, and none of this shit like matters, like ever. They're literally just bodies for Dr. Giggles to kill, which.
Yeah, but you don't need to introduce them like that. You just have them there.
And they like set it up like as if they're introducing like a red herring or a potential storyline, and then nothing. All like, oh my God, it's nuts. It's nuts.
My note here is I have no clue what any of this dialogue represents. And then Jennifer is walking through she lives in like the suburbs, and Dr. Giggles' house is like an abandoned mansion. Like it's like Edward Scissorhands' house.
It's huge.
It's in the middle of the woods.
The house actually didn't exist. It was just a model.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's good.
Jennifer's walking by it, and then that's where they introduce the old lady with a poodle, and she's being like real nosy. And then it cuts to another couple talking about bullshit, and then it does the flashback. And then it cuts to two kids in breaking into the abandoned house, singing a song.
Yes. And in that flashback, I guess the only thing to note is the kid says, "Daddy, I want to be a doctor just like you." But he's tearing apart his stuffed animals. So, okay, nothing we haven't figured out. The kid wants to be a doctor.
His name's Dr. Giggles.
His name's Dr. Giggles. And we get this limerick of these kids. These kids are such pieces of trash, and they show up to this house to just break into. Yeah. And we hear this limerick sung by this guy who's just got dead eyes and just like singing into the camera. And it's town's got a doctor and his name is Rendell. Stay away from his house because he's the doctor from hell. He chopped up his patients, every last one, and he cut out their hearts purely for fun.
All right, so this kid actually told us the entire backstory.
Yeah, except like you don't think about it because it sounds just like a stupid fucking song about a legend.
Yeah, like 1, 2, Freddy's coming.
Yeah, and by the way, there's another nursery rhyme about Dr. Giggles later on. Yeah, and it makes no sense, and that's not even the backstory. That's the story of the dad,
right? Which leads
I guess to the backstory. I don't know, man.
So they break into the house, and it's 2 white kids and 2 black kids.
Yeah.
And the 2 white kids decide to lock the 2 black kids into the house.
Yep. And
that kid is Dougie Doug.
Yes.
From Cool Runnings,
which is awesome.
Operation Dumb.
I was happy about that. And while they're in the house, they're kind of telling tales about Dr. Rendell, who lived in the house, and he was killing his patients for the hearts. I think to save his wife. His wife was sick.
Which we find out later on.
Yeah. Oh, we find that out. See, this is so stupid. They could have just said it. They know everything about him except these bits and whatever. But then we find out that he killed the patients and the townspeople attacked the dad, but the kid survived, but no one found him.
Right.
He was missing. So
wait till we get to that part.
Oh my God. That's like, dude, I was so I was honestly like taken aback by that scene because I was just like, what am I watching? What is happening here?
It's so beautifully stupid.
That is the perfect word. It is beautifully stupid. It's insane. The kids are running around the house, and meanwhile, Dr. Giggles is now in full doctor mode. He's got doctor clothes, tools. He's got a doctor bag. He's ready to roll.
Which nobody had in 1992, by the way.
No. Very dated, and he's got it all in his beautiful office in his house. It's cleaner than my doctor's office. So much cleaner than my doctor's office. I don't have good health care. So I don't understand what these kids are doing, but the kids are locked in the house, like you said, and I guess it's a prank.
Yeah, they're pranking them by locking them in the house. But they leave. They're in there for like 6 hours.
Dude, they're in there for so long.
Because Dougie Doug's, the girl he's with, is like, you better get us out of here. And she's furious at him, and then she starts touching his dick. And he's like, oh, I guess I better get us out of here. I don't... Whatever.
I'd just be so concerned about getting out of a fucking dilapidated house. I'd be so afraid. I'd be like, don't touch my dick, please. I'm really trying to figure out a way to get the fuck out of this house. For it. And also, it's probably not that hard to break down a door from a house that's rotting.
Right. But then I agree. And then he can't do it. And time clearly passes because they break into it during the day and it's clearly dark. And he's like, yeah, I guess they're just playing a prank. I want to be like, Doug, it's been fucking 6 hours.
You fucking idiot. And this leads to them to look through the keyhole.
To see if it's Stu. That's a kid's name, Stu.
To see if it's Stu. He pretends he got stabbed in the eye, and he's like, oh, and the girlfriend's freaking out. And meanwhile, he literally gets stabbed in the ass.
With a drill bit, right?
I think it was a giant needle. Which would to get through a door would have to be like 6.
Dude, whatever it was made him spit up blood.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how big that would have to be to go in your ass?
It was like poison.
Oh, that's what it was?
I think it was a needle with poison.
Oh, I thought they were implying like it ruptured a internal organ.
That would be amazing. I wish they did that. But I'm pretty sure it was a needle that like made him sick.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
Okay.
It has to be because it stabs him and then Dr. Giggles opens the door and he has a giant syringe.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's like,
No, yeah, you know what he said. I have exactly what he says. He says, I'm not really seeing patients yet, but I guess I can make an exception.
Yeah, oh my God. It's not even a pun. Meanwhile, cut to the sex spot that everyone went to, which whatever, and the cops are breaking it up, and there's just condoms and beer everywhere, and it's insane. And they say that they got a call from a woman.
This movie loves condom scenes, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a condom scene in this movie that I'm giddy to talk about.
I forgot about that. They say they got a call from a woman. I don't know what her report is, but basically it was about Dr. Giggles.
Well, it was the lady with the poodle.
Yeah.
She was always snooping around. Because right before it cut to the scene on the hill, it showed her looking through the keyhole.
Oh, okay. So a pretty good lead that might lead to something. And meanwhile, his response is, she sees it, like blow it off, and she sees a rapist in her hemorrhoid cream. I'm not even sure what that fucking means. I know it's offensive, but I don't know. I don't entirely know what it means. I also love the little Weekly World News scene because the crazy woman with the poodle reads Weekly World News. Yes. We're getting so many scenes of this woman, and she means nothing to the story. Means absolutely nothing.
Do they still make that?
No.
I'll never forget one specific one because I was young and impressionable. And like the Pope was lost in the jungle.
Dude, it's so funny. I actually bought a few of them. I don't know why my parents let me buy them because inside it wasn't smut, but the ads, as you can imagine, the people paying for ads for Weekly World News were like knew their audience, and it was just like 900 numbers and very sexual photographs of women in bikinis and stuff like that. It was not made for children, but I had to know what Bat Boy was doing, and I had to know why Elvis and Bigfoot were photographed like on a beach in like Panama together. Dude, why is that not around? That should be at least a website.
I agree.
I would read that shit every day. Like those stories were so fucking funny. And I mean, it really lended itself to print though, because like it was black and white newspapers at the time, except, I mean, there were color
Yeah, and there were
newspapers, but most of
idiots
them.
that probably took it for.
And like, you could post like these like terrible Photoshops and like get away with it, like make it look okay. Literally every photo looked like it had been Xeroxed 100 times before being published in Weekly World News, except Batboy. Batboy was clear as day. Oh man, that must have been awesome doing those photo shoots. Too. Anyway, they also had a TV show for a little while. Fun fact.
Did they?
Yeah, it was very short lived because I watched every one. And I think I watched 3. So where are we?
That lady.
Oh, is this the nose kill?
It certainly is.
This is amazing.
It goes back to the lady with the dog. She's at her home, and she takes her pills, but they've been switched somehow.
Yeah.
Dr. Giggles found her somehow.
Dude, Dr. Giggles just does, like... I mean, that's the one thing in this movie, is he's literally just everywhere and doing everything. Like, without... We have no idea how he's doing it.
So he found her. He broke into her house. He switched her pills. She took one, and she's clearly poisoned because she's, like, spitting up foam. And then he comes out and says something shitty, like, good thing I make house calls, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
He makes her open wide with those shitty wood things that the doctors always choke you with.
Yep. Yeah, like I don't even know what you call them, like the spectrums or something. I don't even know what they're called. But I just want to say one thing here before we continue. We get a POV from inside of her mouth. And it's so cartoonish and awesome. And I was like, oh, if this is the direction this movie goes, I'm on board.
Well, here's the thing. I like the kills in this movie.
Oh, I love them. I'm cool with the kills.
I like the effects that this guy used.
I'm cool with the kills and stuff, but I was hoping for more scenes like this, like over the top cartoon. Dude, it was a POV from inside her mouth. It took up the whole screen, and you saw her teeth, and like it was almost like live action Ren and Stimpy.
And there were shitty looking teeth.
Yeah, like it was like when they would do like the close up of Ren and Stimpy, like of somebody's mouth, and it would just be like, and it would just be like a still picture of like rotten teeth close up. That's what this was like, but it was inside of her mouth. It was really awesome, and I was like, dude, if they do this, this movie might be one of my favorite movies of all time. Except this is the only time they do it. Literally the only time they do it.
Yeah. So he's giving her an inspection, and then he wants to take a look up her nose, and you know those big light things that suck even when they're like a quarter inch up your nose. He fucking jams the thing's huge, and he jams it all the way up her nose, and it literally made me squirm.
Dude, because you see it, it was amazing because you see it traveling up her nose. It wasn't just like a hit up her nose, and you don't see anything, and it's clearly just a cheap special effect, and she dies. You see this thing traveling up the bridge of her nose, like into her head. Yeah. And it was fucking, I squirmed so bad.
Have you ever been tested for the flu by one of those nose things?
No.
They have swabs that go like way up, and it makes your eyes water. And like, no. I can only imagine just getting something fucking jammed.
Oh my God. I'm like having a hard time with this right now. I'm really having that was insane to watch. It was really good.
Great
though.
Kill.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool. And then he goes, I think we found the problem. And that's it. That's his pun for this one. You couldn't think of anything.
Yes. And then cops show up at Dr. Giggles' house. So I guess they do investigate, but they do a shitty job investigating.
This is where we find out the heart.
We find out
for his wife.
Most of the backstory.
Yeah, and the best scene of all time, the cops are talking. The dialogue in this is fucking abysmal.
Oh, you talking about that's what they say.
Yes. I have it all written here.
It was fantastic.
Dude, I almost wanted us to reenact it at the beginning of the show. So the two cops are talking. There's like a young recruit there and an older guy that's working the scene. Wait, is Dougie Doug?
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he's the dead guy. Okay. And he goes, so the young cop says, didn't he have the young cop knows the entire story, but is just asking it in questions, which always drives me nuts when they do that. Like, just say it. Just be like, hey, man, I heard this. Yeah. Like, I hate when they do this in movies. It's like, hey, didn't that guy have a wife that killed everybody, and then the son ran away, and then he started killing people, and then they thought he killed him, but in the next time, he actually is alive, and then the guy's like, yeah, I think so. It's like, shut the fuck up. You can just say it. Like, it's fine. But this is what this is. But he's asking questions, and he says, didn't he have a son? Wasn't his kid involved, helping the father out or something? Then the older cop says, that's what they say. And the younger cop says, there was supposed to be this big mystery. How did the kid get out of the house? That's what they say. Okay. He says, what do you say? The guy says, I don't say. And that's the end of the fucking scene. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? None of that makes sense. There's not a lick of that makes sense.
It's like that gag where the guy answers the phone call. It's like, you don't say. You don't say.
Which we talked about in pieces.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Because that's how he solves the crime. He's like, oh, yeah, that guy's a killer. Except at least that one ended like with some information solidified. This one, they're just like, I don't know. This guy has all the facts.
Also, spoiler alert, that guy does know.
Yeah.
Don't say. He knows everything.
He knows
was
absolutely
there for
everything.
every part of it.
And it would be really pertinent to tell the other cop involved in the investigation. Especially because the rest of the movie, you're trying to find information out. And then at the end, you're like, all right, I got something to tell you.
By the way, I know everything.
By the way, I know everything you just found out looking through old newspapers.
I would be furious.
I'd honestly shoot him and be like, yeah, I think Giggles did it. I'd be so fucking aggravated. It's so funny. Oh my God. Oh.
So we find out that Giggles' dad was a doctor and that he was collecting hearts to save his wife.
I can't get over that scene. That's so funny. And there's so many moments, like, we're going to get to other shit. It's just like that. Like, where you're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Now we cut to the girl on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, she's on the boardwalk. There's some point. I wrote a lot of pointless conversations, but clearly they weren't pointless. They told us about her heart defect. But in my head, I was very bored.
Do you remember how, not do you remember, did you see how shitty Ferris wheels in the 90s were?
Yeah.
Why would anyone ever get on one?
Yo, I mean, we rode them when we were so young. I don't know why our parents let us get on them.
Now they have like the cages around and stuff.
Yeah. Dude, they were basically ski lifts, but that went very high and in circles. That's so insane. And imagine, because like Ferris wheels have been around for a while, like the World's Fair and like Chicago.
Imagine, like 1940s?
That's what I was just about to say. Can you imagine like a 1930s fucking Ferris wheel? It must have been just a plank that you sat on, held on for dear life. Fucking insane.
I don't know why people find those romantic. Having an anxiety attack the entire time.
Yeah. Dude, they swing too. I remember that. So the girl goes home after this boardwalk exchange with her boyfriend. There's like a little bit of trouble in paradise there.
She's saying how she has to have the surgery for a microvalve, and she reveals that her mom died from surgery. She went to surgery and she never woke up.
Oh, okay. That would have been good information. But, I mean, still not doesn't mean any shit.
No, but it kind of lends to the backstory that she's upset that her dad's dating. And
well, yeah. And
the backstory doesn't matter.
And her dad is like super sympathetic of this in earlier scenes. He's like, oh, I understand you don't like her. Like, and he's like very sympathetic to his daughter. He's not like, she's my wife, deal with it. She's your new mom. Get over it. It's not like that at all. He's very sympathetic, except for the fact that she returns home from her night out and they are hardcore fucking.
Dude, so loud.
So loud, screaming. And
I'd be sick.
You know, I'm not like a super politically correct person, but like, you don't have to have the woman just screaming like, oh, John, yes, John, give it to me. Like, come on, like, fucking relax.
Also, would you fuck that loud if you knew your kid was living in the house?
No, not at all. Even if you were home alone, you're like, okay.
Yeah, with the neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, this woman was. The girl opens the door to her front door, and you could hear it loud, and she's obviously disgusted. Which, even if it was her mom, she'd probably vomit. So, some strange woman who's a total bitch too.
She's a bitch. Yeah.
She's a rotten bitch. Yeah. And then she throws a whole bottle of fish food in her fish tank and is like, this is just my life now.
Yeah.
It was the weird. And I was like,
she also throws her heart monitor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait, I don't.
Wait, does she throw the heart monitor into the fish tank?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a bottle of fish food.
No. It's her heart monitor.
But then she's like upset. She's like, this is my life now.
Yeah, because she's like giving up. She doesn't want to do the surgery.
That's dangerous. It's not advised.
And then Dr. Giggles shows up to the house.
Yes.
But then he goes to a different house for some reason.
Yes. And we get a jump cut to the...
Oh, but wait. Didn't he, like, at his old place, look through, like, patients that his dad had or something?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
like a
don't
Dewey
think
Decimal
so.
System.
I really don't believe that. I don't believe that to be the case. I feel like that would have been. I mean, maybe, and they just didn't explain it to us like everything.
No, it
else.
wasn't explained, but I'm pretty sure that he was flipping through like patient names and stuff, and he was going.
Oh, and maybe
their
the
houses.
mom. Okay. All right. I'll buy it. Maybe. I don't know. No. But we cut to this other couple that was the one that was pulling the prank.
This is my favorite couple of all time.
Yeah.
Wait, those are the same kids?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even fucking know.
Yeah, they left those kids locked in a house to die so they could go fuck at the park, which got broken up. And then now they're going to go fuck at home.
Where the little brother is playing Dr. Mario.
Correct. And
This
I think this is like the first time. Well, I don't know. They're making it seem like this is I don't know. This kid seems very experienced, but then we see a scene where it's the complete opposite.
This kid opens up a condom while he's standing over a toilet. Then he drops the condom in, and he's trying to fish it out with somebody else's toothbrush so he can reuse it.
Yeah.
And it's filled with water.
Dude, it's so fucking vile.
Stupid.
It's so vile. And meanwhile, the girl, and these are supposed to be high school students, I think, not college, right?
So I'm pretty sure a 6-year-old would know not to fucking use a condom that's fallen in the toilet.
I know that. But I was going to point out that the girlfriend is in the bedroom putting on like stockings and lingerie like she's a porn star. Like she's like the most experienced woman in the world, and this guy can't even figure out how to use a condom or get one out of a toilet.
Not even
just put your hand in.
Yes.
And not reuse
it. Who the fuck buys one condom? He doesn't have any more?
I think they do. I think they have an exchange about the condom where he's like, so I just put this on? And she's like, yeah, I think so.
It's unbelievable.
This teaches you the value of sex ed in schools.
Right. Because why would you put it on over the toilet anyways? Like, just slip it on right before you're about... Condoms suck. Like, why do you want to wear it for longer?
Why would you go to the bathroom to put it on and then, like, walk down the hallway naked with a condom on?
He's clearly not aroused yet. Like, he's going to put on a limp. Just wait for it. This kid sucks.
This scene is awesome.
Oh, dude, no, it gets even better because he finally fishes out the condom, and then he gets into the bed, and he crawls under what seems like a mile of... Dude, he's crawling army style for so long under these sheets. That bed must have been the size of my living room.
So he sneaks into the girls' room, and you can see her under the covers, and he's like, "Oh," like kind of like a playing hard to get thing. And it's a normal sized bed, and he goes under the covers, like to go fish her out. And like Joe said, he is like an army crawling through like barbed wire and shit. He's like crossing town lines to get to her.
It's so long.
And this might be also my favorite scene of all time because he lifts up the covers as he's approaching the body. And Dr. Giggles' big stupid face.
He's so snug.
Big stupid face. And he's so comfortable. He's not like ready to kill. He's like laying with his head on the pillow with a big smile on his face. And I don't even know if he says anything.
Oh, he does. He says, "I hope you have protection."
Oh yeah, I hope you have protection. And what does he do to her? First he got the girl in the hallway. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
And he stabs her in the mouth with a scalpel.
Yes.
Which was awesome also. And he says, "I have a cure for the common cold. Leave it in for at least 2 minutes."
It's not a scalpel. It's a thermometer.
Oh, I could not make out any of these tools. They were not very clear about what they were. Like, because they all looked a little... They're all definitely, like, modified. Like, the nose thing, like, looked like a giant pencil.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure no doctor would use that for that purpose because you'd probably accidentally slip and stick it up somebody's brain. Like all of these have been slightly modified, so it was hard to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it was a thermometer. Okay, all right, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
So that's why she's dead. We probably should have said that.
Yeah, and he says, "I hope you brought protection." And then, did he cut off his dick? Because as he's like, I mean, there's probably 6 cuts in between this that I'm glossing over. But when we see him getting out of the bed, there's blood like by the guy's crotch. So I didn't know.
Yeah, it might have been implied. I'm not really sure.
Now,
I read.
I read it too. Okay, so
So the director, I think he was on a podcast, talking about the movie, and he said that he had wanted like more gore, but the studio,
yeah,
like they said, it was going to be X-rated, so he had to cut back a lot.
like he said, yeah, originally it was going to be really gory, which it's pretty fucking gory. I mean, I would have rated it X for a scene that we're about to touch on here in a minute.
Seems disgusting,
Dude. We'll talk about it.
I like this movie more and more.
I know, as we're talking about it, it's one of those ones that you tell people and you're like, yeah, it's.
Well, like even while I was watching it, I wasn't miserable. Like I had a fun time watching.
No, I wasn't miserable. Yeah, it was.
This is
enjoyable,
dude. It's a B movie from the 90s.
I think my rating. I think my thing on Letterboxd was accurate. It's terrible, but somehow kind of good. But it's awful, and I hated it. But I also kind of liked it. But like I feel all those emotions still.
No, it definitely makes you question
like it's
it.
not like I hated it and then I liked it now that I'm thinking about it. It's just like I hate it, but I also like it a lot.
It toes the line.
There's a lot of things that I like about it. It's very strange. Dr. Giggles also gets the stepmother now in another house. Dr. Giggles like is a time traveler. Well, not even time travel. He's like a teleporter.
Yeah.
Because he just appears. Like, because now we're back at the normal girl's house and the stepmother or the girlfriend.
Must be neighbors. Because he was at the other girl's house.
Joe, don't even give this movie fucking credit. That's not even what they're thinking. They don't even give a shit. Because I'm going to tell you, I'll wait to tell you the scene. But there's a scene that literally makes no sense. And when I explain it to you, you'll be like, oh, yeah. Because in the world of cell phones, you gloss over these things sometimes. But anyway. Okay, they're neighbors. So he goes into the other house and the girlfriend or stepmom, whatever she is eating ice cream because she's pissed off.
Pissed that the dad's concerned about the daughter.
Who is going to die of a heart condition that the mother has already died of or as a result of. And she's like, honestly, like, you're choosing her over me? Yeah, I am. You stupid.
My fucking daughter. Yeah.
Just got my nut off. I don't give a shit about you. Go fuck home. Hi, Dad.
Sean's dad's a big listener of the show.
Yeah.
And every time we record, we're like, man, we were just talking about taking our son's porn, coming on the pages.
So I have to talk about this just real fast. So we recorded, like I knew my dad listened, but I think he had stopped listening, which is fine by me. But we recorded two at a time, and we recorded The Burning in Pieces together. And after the release of The Burning, my mom sends me a picture of him sitting on the couch with his headphones in, and she said he's listening to us. And I was like, oh my God, shit. The Burning is, we talk about scrotums and buttholes extensively. And then as we start getting, then we release Pieces, and I had thought that the porn was in that same episode. But then as people are tweeting me about finding porn and dad's jerking off to it, I'm like, oh no, my dad's listening to this now. And I will say this is the first episode that I'm recording where I'm really thinking about it. It's like in my head, everything I say, and I haven't held back at all. So sorry, Dad. But it's just, I gotta say it. It's gotta be said for the people. Gotta give the people what they want. Got to give the people.
So the mom was eating ice, or not the mom, the lady was eating ice cream.
Yes.
Dr. Giggles.
And she's smearing it all over the mirror.
Why is she doing that?
It's insane. Mad? It's insane. I guess. She's like doing the like crazy girlfriend upset thing, which no one does. Right. Maybe they do. I feel terrible for whoever has to deal with that, but that's mental illness though.
In the back, or in the reflection of the mirror, she sees a doctor's bag.
Yes. And Giggles is there, and he says, all that fat, all that sugar, we've got to take better care of ourselves. Don't worry. His puns are so long. Don't worry. We'll get it out. We'll get it out of your system.
This scene is vile.
It is the most disgusting thing. So he picks up this thing that looks like a Roto-Rooter, but again, I think it's just a modified stomach pump.
Yeah.
It's not really a Roto-Rooter, but there is a Roto-Rooter attachment to it, which is a blade that spins that collects fucking hair out of a sink.
Yes.
But it's that, but inside of a stomach pump. And he crams this down her throat. and turns it on, and like I'm getting nauseous thinking about it. And we cut. He crams this down her throat, turns it on, and we cut to a bowl where there's like the end of the tube is going into
the pump.
The pump, is going into like it's the discharge. And at first, you see fucking ice cream coming out,
so thick.
Which is fucking also disgusting. Like, let alone the blood. I don't want to see somebody get their fucking stomach pumped. Like, that's for hospitals. And it's in a bowl. It's the bowl where the ice cream was. It was like a giant serving bowl, clear bowl. So it's not even like.
And the consistency of this liquid makes it even grosser.
Dude, it's vile. And it's pouring in, and then all of a sudden it's just like. And then all of a sudden we start seeing blood mixing with the fucking partially digested ice cream in a fucking bowl. And I'm about to vomit just talking about it. I legitimately. I'm like about to gag. I legitimately. Like was gagging while I watched it and almost vomited. Like
Sean has a week. Like I once told him a story about maggots and he was dry heaving.
Dude, it's rotten shit. It's cream. It's dairy, and it's dairy mixed with blood is like vile. Like this is the most disgusting shit I've ever seen in my life. Pumping partially digested. It must have smelled like shit in there. God, it was so fucking gross, but it was amazing, right?
It was a great
I've
scene.
never seen anything like that in my life.
Yes.
Dude, that was more brutal than anything that they've ever shown in like Hostel or anything like that.
It was gross.
It was amazing. It was so good. God damn it.
So after that gross scene, we cut to another flashback of a young Giggles, and his mom is lying on the bed, and the dad is sobbing, and he goes from sobbing to laughing so quickly. It's like unsettling.
It's so weird. It's so weird. And the kid that plays Dr. Giggles is like so bizarre looking. He's just a really bizarre looking kid. And when he laughs, it really makes you, it's very odd. Meanwhile, our girl, what's her name? Jennifer is looking for Max.
Yep.
And somehow she finds her banging a girl in the high school music room. Not really explained. I know the other couple was like kind of like I think they were talking to him like you gotta get laid or something. I don't know. I don't even know what.
Yeah,
I don't really care. But the guy's a piece of shit, and in the end, they end up together. Spoiler alert! And it's just stupid. Like she like totally forgives him, and he's like going to town on this girl in the music room. Piece of shit. And like it's the same night that she just poured her heart out about this surgery she's having. Right. Actually, this guy deserves to die. And he doesn't. And then
she sees them and she runs into a magic mirror room.
Yeah, but why are they like, whatever.
I guess there's a carnival there.
The carnival's like on a boardwalk though. They were on a boardwalk earlier and then they're at a school music room.
Maybe the school's
on the boardwalk. On the boardwalk. And yeah, they run into like a room of magic mirrors and Dr. Giggles is just everywhere as usual. And he's just standing around the carnival. Oh, dude. So this was the one thing. This pissed me off even before they confirmed it. But Dr. Giggles is standing at this carnival that is so many people. And he's in a full doctor's outfit, carrying a doctor's bag around, a 1940s doctor's bag and doctor's outfit. And he's just standing at the carnival. You would alert the police so fast if you saw that because he's just standing there and you've never seen him before. And it's a small town. And later, they even confirmed this by being like, there's only one doctor in this town. You don't think this weird doctor standing around with a 1940s doctor bag would raise a fucking alarm to anyone? But it doesn't.
Yeah, he's not incognito at all.
No, he's just walking around as a fucking doctor in a town with one doctor. But he chases them into this mirror room.
I thought the scene was kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of a sucker because you don't know where they are. The mirror room, do they still do those? Because they're fucking terrifying.
They are terrifying. But I feel like if I was in one, there'd be like so many fingerprints on them that you'd be like, oh, I know exactly where I am. But I don't know. Mirrors are fucked up. Like even in a restaurant when I'm like, I'll be like, there's like a mirror next to you and you're like staring into it, thinking you're like looking through a piece of wood. And then you're like, oh my God, it's people behind me. It's not a window. It's so weird. It freaks me out. But yeah, it's good. It's really good.
So the other girl that her boyfriend was hooking up with was tied up and she crashes through the mirrors to escape. Jennifer crashes through the mirrors, right?
Yes.
And
I don't know.
everyone's crashing through. There's just broken glass everywhere.
Yeah.
She runs to the, or she's taken to the police station.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite scene. This is where they like interrogate her, and the young cop from before thinks that the old cop is lying about not saying anything,
Yes.
not knowing anything.
Yeah.
So he confronts him. He somehow figured out that the killer is the doctor's son. That's
Yeah.
on the loose.
Yes. And the old cop is like he found me out, and he like goes to his locker,
Pulls out
a bottle of wine.
from 35 years ago.
A bottle of wine. Like, aren't cops supposed to be like whiskey drinkers? Like,
Yes. Like Wire, that's all they do is drink whiskey.
yeah. Like, dude.
Bottle of Chardonnay.
Chardonnay and he's fucking, and he's like a recovering
He's like, I
alcoholic.
haven't had this in 35 years.
Yeah, he's never drank, and he's like, ugh.
So why is he keeping it in his locker?
It's
Just for this
warm.
day?
Fucking idiot.
Oh, dude. It's probably terrible tasting.
Yeah.
So he tells the entire story.
He tells the full story of Dr. Rendell because he was involved in it. He was directly involved on the case.
involved in the case. So what we already know, the dad was a doctor. He couldn't save his wife, so he started killing people, taking their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows how the son escaped.
Yes.
Do you want to say how the son escaped?
So I'll leave the reveal to you, but so the cop, the older cop was in charge of watching over the bodies. He starts hearing some giggling coming from like the mortuary, like the autopsy room, I guess it would be. And he goes in. We see a full frontal of a dead naked woman.
It's the mom, Dr. Giggles.
Oh, it's Dr. Giggles'
Yeah.
mom. So gross. And then
He hears giggling coming from the corpse. Young Dr. Giggles has been sewn inside his mother with no place to breathe, just inside her cadaver. And he must have been there for fucking hours. Like, you would die.
So long.
Also, there was no stitches on this woman.
None.
And he cuts himself out. There's no reason. Like, how did he get in there? He was how old was he? He's so fucking
He's
big.
like 9. He's
so
like 9 or
big.
10.
There's
Yeah, he's huge.
Even if you remove all her organs, you would know there's a fucking little kid in
Dude,
there.
first of all, when they picked up the body, the middle would just slump. You would fall out of her back.
It's so stupid.
It's so insanely stupid. And the way Dr. Giggles gets out is like he's got a scalpel inside of the
Yes.
body, and you just
Cuts
see this
himself
little
out.
scalpel going up and down, all the way down the middle of her body. And the cop's just watching it, like, what the fuck is happening? And the kid gets out like a rabid rat. And he's got like fangs though, and he's like, ah, and I think it's just his teeth, but he looked like a fucking rabid animal.
It's so stupid.
It's so insanely dumb. It's crazy. And
Also-
then they make the point though multiple times, like they were like, and the dad stitched him up in there. There's not a fucking single stitch in her body.
The dad must have known the police were coming. Or why else would he stitch him up
Yeah.
in there? How quickly did he fucking do this?
And why wouldn't you? Yeah, why wouldn't you just run away with the kid?
It's so... He's inside his mom's fucking body. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
It's the craziest shit. The dad comes home. The father of
Jennifer's dad,
Jennifer comes home. That's the end of that, by the way. Everyone's just okay with that. Hard cut to Jennifer's dad.
Well, the
coming
cop
home.
sees it and just lets the kid walk out and he's just like, oh, God.
Like, you would tackle that fucking kid so fast. You'd probably just shoot him. Right.
You would think it's a monster.
Yeah, you really would. And we also got another Dr. Rendell song there. The cop is just singing it.
Yeah.
It's a completely different one, though. Not even the same song. And then the dad comes home to check on Jennifer, and he checks his answering machine messages. And we'd seen Dr. Giggles invade the house prior to him being home, and Dr. Giggles hears the answering machine going off. Okay.
Yes.
So we hear that first message, and then we also hear a second message, which is Dr. Giggles. And he says, "Hello, this is your new doctor, and I'm standing right behind you." It's my favorite thing in the whole movie. And he's just standing behind him. Just spitting facts. Just spitting straight facts. Now, here's what pisses me off about this. And this is what I was brought up kind of when you were talking about them being neighbors and them not explaining anything. It literally makes no sense that Dr. Giggles called this house and left a voicemail because, like, in the world of cell phones, we kind of just give a pass to, like, oh yeah, like in our head, we're just like, yeah, you just pull out your phone and call the house and leave the voicemail. There were no cell phones, and he would have had to call from the house phone, which would have then get a busy signal. So he would have had to leave. He would also would have had to get the house number, leave.
You also would have had to know that his dad was home. Tell him he's standing right behind.
Call, and then leave the answering machine message that I'm standing right behind you. And then just sit there and wait and pray the dad checks his messages despite his wife being murdered and his daughter being missing. Because I'll tell you what, I would never check my messages.
Well, if the daughter is missing, you might.
Oh, I guess that's true. Good point. And he bone saws the dad with like a circular bone saw, which...
They tells him, if you think that's bad, wait till you get my bill.
Classic doctor humor.
He gets so much doctor humor in this movie.
Classic doctor humor.
A cop shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know how he knows that he's at Jennifer's house.
Yeah.
Why would he know that?
Yeah.
The dad didn't call. The dad doesn't know the girlfriend's dead, right? At this point.
I don't...
Well, regardless.
I honestly don't know.
The cop shows up and shoots Dr. Giggles right after Dr. Giggles.
And right in the thigh. It looks so painful.
Dr. Giggles mortally wounds him, like at the same time.
Yeah.
And he just... Dr. Giggles cry laughs.
Yeah. And then gets back to his house somehow with the nicest equipment ever.
Dude, he's performing
self-surgery.
But he does have the nicest equipment. He's doing such a good job.
Yeah, and he's doing such a nice job. He should be a doctor, frankly. He could save a lot of lives. And he's saying things out loud as he's performing self-surgery, like scalpel, retractor,
like he's asking for someone
suction.
to hand it to him.
Yeah, and he's handing it to himself. And like that's the other part. Like they kind of do this thing in the movie where Dr. Giggles sees things. Like he's definitely psychotic and seeing stuff. Like he saw the patients as doctors watching him. And in this scene, he's kind of seeing himself handing himself the equipment.
Right.
It's weird. Like he's almost seeing himself performing surgery on himself. It's really weird. And that would be a cool element to this movie if they ever fucking elaborated on it or made it clear that that's what they were doing. Yeah. But instead, you're just like, wait, well, this scene is just fucking dumb.
Right.
Dumb and awesome at the same time.
Dumb and awesome, much like the very next scene. Because after he performed surgery on himself, we cut to Jennifer, who now is not only decided to get surgery, but she's getting it right at this moment.
See, I couldn't figure it out because I think she got hit by a car earlier. Didn't she get hit by a cop car?
This is for the
heart.
The heart.
Okay, good. Okay. Midnight on a Saturday night.
yeah. So late, and it's like a podunk.
Oh my
doctor's
god.
office.
Yeah, this is amazing too.
And she's also like whatever, but she's about to get surgery. Dr. Chamberlain turns into Dr. Giggles.
Yes.
But then it turns out Jennifer was just hallucinating.
Yes.
And Dr. Chamberlain's like, oh, everything's going to be all okay. And she's all calm. And then Dr. Giggles shows up anyways.
Yes.
And attacks Dr. Chamberlain.
Yes. He kills the doctors have an awesome fight.
Why is he there?
With a reflex hammer and like some other tool. They're just like fighting like they're swords. It's incredible.
Reflex hammer.
It's incredible. It's the biggest reflex hammer of all time, too. It's like
bruisey.
It's like 3 feet long.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that you use on the boardwalk to hit that goes up to ring the bell.
Yeah.
This is a sweet kill, though.
This is
he
awesome.
hits him with the reflex hammer, and obviously that is so big it knocks him out of commission. And he takes the blood pressure. What do you call it?
Dude, everything he has is oversized doctor equipment, and somehow fits in the bag.
It wraps around his neck, his entire neck, because it's so fucking big. And he squeezes it until it suffocates him.
Yeah, which is awesome. And then he goes, either you're dead or my watch stopped.
Checking his pulse.
Fucking idiot. I also don't think that makes any sense, but whatever.
No, it makes sense because remember how they used to do it? They used to put the stethoscope around your blood pressure and they would record with the watch.
Yeah, but...
So if the watch stopped because he has no pulse
anymore. Oh, right. I guess it... whatever. I mean, no, I don't know. Okay. Jennifer is now on an operating table in his shit house.
Yes.
The cops find the dead dad. Or no, the dad's alive and well. Despite,
he's not dead.
Yeah, and he says a doctor did this. Which the cops already know, but they're like, "Oh my god, this confirms it." Like,
just joking.
You fucking know that,
dude. I love this movie. I fucking love this movie.
You already figured this out. You just had a huge conversation. The cops arrive at shit house, which is what I call his house throughout my notes, which is Dr. Giggles' house. It's a dump. They stumble into the waiting room, and all the dead people are there. All the people Dr. Giggles have killed, and none of them have hearts at all. And Jennifer's on the operating table in this house. He's relocated her.
Also, Giggles somehow knows that she has a broken heart.
Yes.
Because
no, I think he's joking because of the boyfriend. He's like making I think it's like a play.
It is.
Oh,
Why
but you're
does he
right.
know that?
I don't know. I don't know. And then because he just checks her heart.
Because he says he's going to fix her broken heart or something like that. And give her a new one.
And honestly, I was hoping Dr. Giggles was going to sew himself inside Jennifer's body.
That's just what he does.
That's how he gets his rocks off. And Giggles has a fucking pail of hearts by him.
A bucket of
It's literally a metal bucket, rusty metal bucket of hearts. Despite everything in there being top of the line doctor equipment, he just has hearts laying in a bucket, just rotting. And he's to size them up to see if they'll work in this girl. He's literally just taking them out and putting them on her chest and being like, nah, too big, and throws it. Nah, too small, throws it. What the fuck? The cops stumble in. They see the waiting room.
When the cop comes in, Dr. Giggles throws a heart at him.
Yeah. And Giggles has like one of those things to like jumpstart a heart. Like the defibrillator. Yeah. And except it's attached to 8 car batteries.
It's so powerful.
And he zaps her with it and she flatlines. She's gone. Yeah. She's gone. And this somehow shorts out the electricity in the building despite it being attached to 8 car batteries. Somehow the entire building's electricity short circuits and everything in. The cops run in, don't move. And he says, I don't believe you had an appointment. And then have a heart, and then throws a heart at him. That's the art scene. Like you could not even keep track of the fucking puns.
No.
Time to do what doctors do best.
He grabs a golf club.
Golf club. Meanwhile, the boyfriend shows up too, who the cops had already been like, don't show up. Yeah. He shows up, and one of was it the cop that says we ain't got time for this shit?
I don't know who said that.
So I think a cop says it. The cop's like, we ain't got time for this shit, and he's right. He's totally right. It's just nonsense happening.
Dr. Giggles is hitting so many people with golf clubs.
Dude, he's
wailing.
He is surgical with the golf club. He's knocking guns out of people's hands with them. Like he's just insane. He's skilled, very skilled. He steals the gun from Jennifer, who attempted to grab it, and he decides to chase the cops around instead of killing 2 people that are just sitting in the same room with him.
Yes,
just ready to be dead. Instead, he goes to chase the cops around. The cops and Giggles are fighting. I haven't discharged you yet. So fucking stupid. The end is just insane. Yes. The end is just insane. I can't even express it.
It's honestly like a cartoon at this point.
Yeah. It's a huge cartoon.
People, that cop flies through the glass.
Flies through the glass. Yes.
Jennifer grabs a gun, and her shot is the worst shot I have ever seen in my entire life. It's like that Dumb and Dumber scene where she totally misses. She grabs it, and she shoots like it's almost like a different room.
Yeah. And the house is on fire now.
Also, it shows her eyes while she shoots. That actress closes her eyes. Her eyes shut. And she just
points blindly and shoots. Jennifer and Max are trying to escape. Giggles almost has them, but not quite. And then Dr. Giggles, for some reason, runs back into the flaming room. Like right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then...
And in that room, there's...
Oxygen tanks. Which explode.
Yes.
And shoot... They shoot Jennifer and Max like a mile out of the house as they're running out the door. I mean,
this house blows the fuck up.
Yeah.
Even everyone at the carnival sees it.
And it blows up so hard that the doctor bag comes flying out and lands in the street, burned. So Dr. Giggles is dead, 100%. But the movie continues. This is like one of those examples of like you're just praying, like it's just end, wrap it up.
They go to the hospital.
They go back to the hospital,
And of course, Dr. Giggles shows up at the hospital. And honestly, he's not that badly burned. He has like 3 warts on his face.
He's like some blistering on his face, but not even bad. And like his lab coat is singed. And he's fine. And all the nurses and doctors are dead. He killed like 100 people in the hospital. It's insane. It's insane. Smallest town with the biggest hospital.
And he shows up with more tools than he's ever had. And they're like medieval tools.
Yeah.
They're
And
like,
the final doctor who's about to perform the surgery is just staring at him as he's clearly pulling out murder weapons. You're a doctor. You have seen every tool. Do any of these look like anything to you besides something
like,
you'd murder somebody with?
He's like, there's my tools. And he's like, okay.
And then he shoots him with one of them. He stabs him in the eyeballs and kills him. It's insane. Yeah. And it's insane.
Jennifer escapes. She runs to a janitor's closet where she smashes 2 bottles of something, I guess, on the floor. And then she hits them with the defibrillator paddles.
It was just water, I guess. It was probably just like saline.
Oh.
Because that's what electrocutes them.
Yeah.
I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, what is happening?
That makes
right
total
now?
sense.
Yeah.
But she puts the defibrillators on them, and it shoots lines of electricity into Dr. Giggles.
Yeah. Dr. Giggles is dead again. Oh, wait. Just kidding. He's not. He's still alive.
He's not even dead this time. He passes out like the 3 Stooges. Like Marge, whoop, just like falls in.
Just falls back on his heels. Lands flat on his back. And says, I don't feel well.
She says, take 2 and call me in the morning.
Yeah. And then stabs him in the chest with like 2 of his tools.
2 of his weapons.
Yeah.
And then he breaks the fucking 4th wall. He stares right at the camera. He says, is there a doctor in the house? And he finally fucking dies.
Then he finally dies, hopefully. And Jennifer wakes up to her dad, who somehow lived. Only guy to live. And all he's doing is holding his ribs. That's all Dr. Giggles did.
Yeah, and that's it.
And in walks piece of shit Max, cheating asshole. And he says, how are you feeling? Oh, I don't know, dude. This guy just killed an entire fucking town. Literally wiped out the town.
Yeah.
Like dozens and dozens of people. Can you imagine that? So, wow. That was Dr. Giggles, man. Dr.
Did you know
motherfucking Giggles.
Well, did you know that Dr. Giggles played Santa Claus in... I'm drawing a fucking blank. Our first episode.
Oh, right. That's
fucking
him.
Tales from the Crypts.
Yeah, Silent
Larry
Night.
Drake, yes.
Or All Through the House.
All Through the House, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He was way better as that.
I honestly thought he was really good as Dr. Giggles. Like, just...
He is. It's just
campy.
not a good movie.
It's not. I enjoyed it, though.
No, it's
It's
fine.
enjoyable.
I-
Did you know that Ted Danson auditioned to be Dr. Giggles?
That would have sucked.
It would have sucked. Larry
It would have
Drake is
sucked.
perfect.
You need this guy is perfect for
Jennifer
this role.
Aniston and Ashley Judd auditioned for Jennifer.
I would have taken anybody besides who played Jennifer. She was not very good. So this was 1992?
92, yes.
When did Leprechaun come out?
93.
Oh, wow. So they could have had Jennifer
think,
Aniston. That could have been her claim to fame.
Don't want people to yell at me, and by people I mean Paul.
And by the way, it's not a claim to fame. It's how you got your start. She just claimed to fame.
Leprechaun.
Yeah, Paul gets mad at us when we say the wrong.
Paul's mad.
years.
I think I've talked about it before. Paul's mad when I didn't know the exact year Psycho came out. So I sounded like a buffoon.
That's our friend.
1993.
So, guys, Paul puts on this like dopey act, like he's like just an honest, carefree guy, but he's such a jerk to us, which is why we're a jerk back to him on the air. But when we're a jerk to him on the air, he's just like, "Oh, okay," and just takes a fucking martyr, like he's a martyr for the horror show. Anyway. So that wraps up this episode, guys. The Gate next week, 1987. Check it out. Not that there's another Gate, but check it out. We'll be back. That was by a good friend of the show, Ryan, Lawyer and Ryan, Hottie Toddy Lawyer and Ryan. You can find us at facebook.com/IHateHorror. IHateHorror.com. I'm on Twitter at IHateHorrorShow and on Instagram at IHateHorror.
I'm on Twitter at JoeV421, Instagram Boognish1985, and Snapchat Horror Show Joe.
Look at that. And then the best thing you guys can do, rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. Really helps us get on those charts, which I love to see. It just, I love it. It drives me. It drives me to be an insane person, frankly. I get very competitive. And we were up to like 80 and it was amazing. So we need to get higher. And it's all on you guys. It's all up to you. So don't fail me. But yeah, rate, review, subscribe. That's the best way to help us. Like I said, you could also help us monetarily if you have the money on patreon.com. We do some fun stuff there. We do Google Hangouts and stuff like that. We got to do more of it, but we're trying. They've also been getting video episodes of our versions of our podcast, which is pretty cool.
Which we didn't do tonight.
We didn't, because we had to do it in Joe's house because I wanted to be cool. Because the weather here is fucking disastrous. And I would have had to crank the AC all through the entire episode. And
yeah.
We know how that turns out. Anything else we need to plug? We have shirts for sale. Check those out. store.ihatehorror.com. Thank Harley Poe for allowing us to use the song Gorehound off the album Pagan Holiday. Thanks, man. That's it. I think that's it.
That's it.
That's it. All right, guys. Thank you very much. For Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.